What is up, YouTube? It is Psychedelic Scizor, and I'm here with my draft analysis for the CPC D-League Season 3. I'm super excited to get back because I actually want to have a full season of this under my belt, and I've only had like 2 partial seasons, so hopefully I'll stick around the full time, and I have definitely got the draft to do it. I'm really happy with this draft, but let's just get into it. First pick, I got Lander Asterion, which I totally did not expect to get because I was the 10th pick overall, which Lander should never last that long, but I completely dropped my draft plan and picked up Lander Asterion because it's Lander Asterion. And of course, you know it is one of my Z-Move users, because it absolutely has to be. It's mandatory. If you have a Landorus, it's going to be a Z-Move user. You're so underutilizing it if you don't have Z-moves, but everyone knows this, and everyone kind of knows what Landorus does. It's just so versatile and puts on so much pressure. It just does everything, and it does it all at the same time. It's a pivot, it's a breaker, it's a defensive mon, it's a stealth rocker, and it can do all of those in one set. Like SD Z-Move Stealth Rock, it literally is able to do all of those roles at once. It's a fantastic set, and it's not even close to its only set. So, Landorus is great. We all know this. Moving on, I was really surprised I got Jirachi second round, which I still think is kind of a fair place for it. I think is a little overvalued. I think it's fantastic, don't get me wrong, but I think first round's kind of pushing it, just because I really don't think it has sweeping potential other than flinching things down, which, let me just put this out there, PSA, if you draft Jirachi and you're not comfortable with flinching your opponent down, you're using it wrong and you're not going to get the full value out of it. And I will say right now, I am 100% not above flinching my opponents to death with Jirachi. If it works and it's the right set to bring, I'm going to do it. Is it scummy? Kind of. I don't really think so. I mean, the odds really are in your favor to be flinching with Serene Grace, but just putting that out there, if you have Jirachi, you need to embrace the flinch. You're not fully utilizing it if you don't, if you don't show the willingness to flinch something down with Jirachi. So, not that I'm gonna flinch everything down with Jirachi. Jirachi does so much more than that, but that is definitely an option. Healing Wish support will be really nice for Landorus and for other mons on my team. It's a nice glue pivot, so we've already got a lot of momentum just with our first 2 picks, and a really good defensive core, because there's actually a lot of types of pressure Jirachi, but one of them being, ground types, which Landorus is immune to, so that's definitely nice. It's definitely nice, and Jirachi is fantastic. We've got Azumarill, another kind of straightforward mon. We're not running this ability. We're running this ability. Huge power just makes it so strong, and just dual stabs plus like knockoff, or maybe ice punch or something like that, usually covers pretty much everything. And Azu is in fact the best bunny. So yeah, shout out to me for actually having nicknames for once. It takes me forever to come up with them, but yeah. So here's Azu. I liked using it a lot last season. It's super good. Just the presence of its Aqua Jet stops so many mons from coming. It's fantastic. And I guess I should say now, I should have said this to start. I'm just going over, what the mons are and what they do very quickly, because at this point, people know what mons do. Draft League's been around long enough to where it's not like a lot of stuff is a secret, but, I'm just going over it real quick, and my opinions on them. I'm going to go over how I think the team functions overall when I'm done, so something more interesting conversation-wise. And so, next, we have got Terrakion, who is a fantastic breaker. So far, my team is really strong, if I do say so myself. Yeah, Terrakion is just an insane wall breaker. Its dual stabs are so good. Its attack is so good. Its speed is simultaneously amazing and very disappointing. I mean, it's great for a wall breaker because it outspeeds so much stuff, but like it just can't outspeed the base 110s and the stuff that's, you know, super fast. It's just below that level. But it also does give me a third rocker, which I don't know how often Stealth Rock's Terrakion is going to come, but it is a good rocker because it just forces so many things out. And say if my opponent does have a decent stop to Terrakion, but it's only that one Mon, and, you know, it's going to force a switch every time, you know, Terrakion can be a good stealth rocker in that case. And not that it's going to be able to take... Well, I say that it's not going to take a lot of hits in order to get justified boosts, but then I realize this thing's actually got bulk. It's got a horrible defensive typing, don't get me wrong, but 91, 90, 90, that's going to take neutral hits really well. It's a thicker boy than you would expect. I mean, yeah, Terrakion's great. I like Terrakion. I haven't used it much, but the little bit of prep that I've done with it and play that I've done with it, it's been really, really good. So, next, round 5, we picked up Rabombi, Barry B. Benson joining the team. This gives me a couple things. It gives me an elite speed tier, and I wouldn't say, kind of. It's a very... First you on the video, got that out of the way. It is a very, very good speed tier. It's gonna outspeed a lot of teams just on its own. And then the sticky webs providing speed control, which really helps out Mons like Landorus and Terrakion that wish they were just a little bit faster. It gives me even more momentum. I have a third U-turner, and it gives me a defogger, not a great one, but the option is there. It's really nice for speed control, and Rabombi itself is a good offensive mon. Just, it's got good dual stabs. Fast fairy types are very rare, and so they're very good. So, I'm taking one of the few here, and I did get 2 fairy types, because it is a good type to have 2 of, because I feel like neither of them... This is gonna sound weird. Neither of them function fully like a fairy type, like in the sense of like a Clefable or a Florges or a Sylveon that, you know, really just are shut down to dragon types. So having 2 of them kind of makes up for it and acts as more of a deterrent. Well, second yawn of the video. Alright, we really need a counter for that. I just woke up from a fucking nap. How am I still tired? Anyway, moving on. Yeah, I like Rabombi. It's super frail, but what did you expect? It's a B. It's not strong. But I like Rabombi. I want to see how well I can use it, because I know it has a lot of cool stuff going for it. Next, we've got Amoonguss, who's also not running this ability. It's running this ability. Yeah, Psilocybin is coming through, and we're gonna go on a fucking trip with it. Amoonguss just... My team really was not defensive up to this point. I had some pivots, but I needed some, you know, hard walls so that I don't get destroyed by wall breakers. Like... actually, never mind. This example wasn't gonna work. But yeah, Amoonguss, very strong, very good fighting resist, good electric resist. You know, it doesn't block Volt Switch, but it certainly takes the hit pretty well. And Amoonguss has tons of cool options going for it. Stomping Tantrum was a really cool thing for it to get this gen. It helps it out with a lot of specific mons. And yeah, just, you know what Amoonguss does. Also Spore. People seem to forget that, and people don't even honestly seem to run it that much because it seems kind of predictable. And obviously you don't want to run it all the time, but... You know, you shouldn't be afraid to run Spore. I mean, it's just so good. You sometimes can't afford not to, really. Yeah, kind of nice anti-Trick Room mon. I mean, Stack Attack is still going to blow it away, but I don't know if that got drafted, actually. I don't believe it did. But, yeah. Moving on from the little mushroom. We're going to Umbreon. I think Umbreon forms a really nice defensive core with Amoonguss because... Amoonguss takes all the fighting and fairy type hits and a lot of the bug type hits that Umbreon doesn't like, and meanwhile Umbreon can take on the psychic type moves that would pressure Amoonguss quite a bit. And obviously there's some flaws there, but generally speaking they pair really well together. They're really hard to kill, Wish Pass into mons like Lando, mons like Azum, mons like Jirachi. That really helps because they're bulky, but they don't have recovery. And so having a really reliable Wish Pass or an Umbreon is awesome. That's going to heal up most of the HP of a mon like a Landorus that has lower HP, or especially, well, actually Azum has high HP too. Still, getting those mons in for free, if nothing else, with Wish, like using Wish offensively like that, is really nice. And even Synchronize, I mean, it's not an incredible ability, but, you know, just kind of punishing your opponent for toxicking you is a nice little consolation prize. So, yeah, Umbreon is cool. It's so fat. It's ridiculous, and Foul Play helps it get around, you know, some other issues. Next, we got Gengar, because our team is still looking very physically offensive at this point, and Rabombi should never have to carry the workload of being the only special attacker on the team. I did not expect Gengar to be around this long, but since it was here, I took it. Pretty fast, pretty strong, pretty standard, but it's got its nice tech options to keep it from being too predictable. You gotta be afraid of, you know, Will-O-Wisp, Hex sets, stuff like that, or, you know, Specs Gengar. It's a really, really good mon. I feel like every mon I've gotten in this entire draft is really high quality. I really, really like it. Also gives me a ground poison type, well, besides Moongus, I guess, that can absorb T-Spikes. Gives me a spin blocker, although that's always ballsy with how frail Gengar is, but yeah. Gengar is here and ready to destroy things. Next, we have got Frostbite, the Mega Glalie. I've been wanting to try out Mega Glalie for a while, and I finally decided to do it here. Mega Glalie is so strong with base 120 attack boosted by like Refrigerate, Returns, or Double Edges, or Frustrations. But yeah, Ice types are extremely good offensively. Think about how good Mamoswine and Weavile are, and Kyurem Black, mons like that. I mean, Ice is such a good stab, and having such powerful Ice stab along with Ice Shard, which is just about as strong as Weavile's, not quite, but and of course that doesn't have a boosted item either. But besides that, the other thing that I like is it's a nice spiker because it's going to force a lot of switches because of how strong it is. And the final piece that I love about it is just having the absolute nuke button in Refrigerate Boosted Explosion. I really, really enjoy that just option to just go boom. I love Explosion. It's such a good move. You just, even resists, you just blow the fuck back. And 100 speed isn't bad for a wall breaker like that. It has special options. It can run Freeze Dry, I think. Can it? Yes, it can. So, you gotta look out for Special Glalie. It's definitely an option. And I've just been wanting to try it. I know there's better megas out there, but I got all these good regular mons before then. I don't feel like my draft is lacking at all because I got Mega Glalie. I think it's a nice accent piece to this great offensive team. Because, yeah, it's kind of stopped by Steel types, but, I mean, what Steel type is going to have an easy time versus me? Lando is going to destroy Steel types, Terrakion is going to destroy Steel types, Jirachi can 1v1 a lot of Steel types in certain situations, and so that's just going to help out mons like Rabombi and mons like Mega Glalie, without having to get something like a Magnezone or whatever. And but I've talked a lot about this mon. Moving on, for our last real pick, we have got a Barbaracle, which is our second Z-move user, and it was cheap. It was 4 points. It's a pretty effective sweeper for 4 points. I know I've already got a water type, I've already got a rock type, but I still think at 4 points, this was the best mon that I had available to me. It is my 4th Stealth Rocker, and yeah, being able to Shell Smash is really, really nice, especially with Z moves. So it might not come a lot just because I have Terrakion and Azu, but it could fill some niche defensive roles. You know, it's got 115 defense. Tough Claws is going to make its moves hit super strong even if you're not invested, so it was the best option available, and so I picked it up. You know, I really don't, you know, I don't think through my first ever 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Through my first 9 picks, I feel like I already had a pretty complete team, so I didn't need to fill any crucial gap with this. I don't have a dragon type, but I didn't feel like there was one worth picking up, and I don't feel like my team is missing anything because I don't have a dragon type. I feel like I filled it in other ways, and so Barbaracle is here. And for the meme pick, I had 1 point left. I went with Venipede, just because it's 1 point. I could set up, you know, Suicide Lead Spikes and T-Spikes and then die. Might actually take a fighting move just because I quad resist and have a Violite, but, you know, it's only here for being a Suicide Lead Spiker if it ever comes. But, you know, it's here if I want to do that. Maybe an Endeavor set. Ooh, that sounds good. So, things I like about this team, since I've gone over the Mons, you know what the Mons do. But one thing that I think is really interesting but really cool is I feel like for a couple of these Mons, I've actually drafted like the best, some of the best checks to these Mons on my own team. Like Terrakion, I drafted Landorus, so no one else can wall me with a Landorus. Azumarill, I drafted an Amoonguss, so that nobody can wall me with an Amoonguss. And well, that's mostly it. But with those two, with how strong those two are, that's helpful enough as is. And well, okay, so that point didn't go quite as far as I expected. Oh, wait, never mind, that's why I thought a third. Gengar, I drafted Umbreon, who's probably the best switch into Gengar in the game. And even then, Gengar can still blow through it in certain scenarios because it's a fucking Gengar. But this team, I think, is crazy powerful with its wall breakers. I've got so many good wall breakers. I think my speed is kind of a double-edged sword. It's a super fast draft, but I've got my really fast offense, and I've got my slower walls, and then I've got kind of Barbaracle sitting there in the middle. That's about it. But that's not the worst problem to have. It's really bad when you have a super slow team, and you're just always having to run Choice Scarfers all the time. That won't really be necessary with this team as much. Choice Scarfers are always good, and you should, not always, but a lot of times have them on your team. And obviously I'll run Choice Scarfers, but it's not a total necessity to me most of the time because I've got such a fast team, and I've got Sticky Web, and I've got good priority. Good priority. Yeah, I like the speed on this team, I like the power of this team, and I feel like for how offensive most of this team is, I do think throwing Amoonguss and Umbreon on there actually does help out a ton, because it kind of doesn't allow my opponent to just splash, you know, fast Choice Scarfers, HO type stuff, like to beat my offense. Like, you still have to bring stuff to try to break and, you know, counter these walls. And, of course, that's taken advantage of by my offense. And while it's an offensive team overall, I feel like it has the balance elements to be a really good team. I think this is one of the best teams I've ever drafted. I'm not going to say it's perfect. It's certainly not. It has some problems that I won't get into here. Because I won't get into them here. But just as far as the positives go, I think this is a really, really powerful team. And I got, really because I tried to get the best value I could in each round. You know, I didn't plan on getting Landorus, but it was around, so I got it. I didn't plan on getting Jirachi, but it was around, so I got it. And I'm really, really happy with the results. And these are your Oakland A's Elves for the CPC D-League Season 3. Check us out Week 1. We're going to play Brett. I have prepped for that match, but I have not played it yet, so I don't know how that result is going to go. I am super excited, though. I really am excited for this season. I've been waiting for a long time. I'm kind of trying to prove myself as a competent battler, and this is my space to do it. It's the most competitive league I'm in, and I'm excited. It's gonna be a good time. It's gonna be fun no matter what. I'm going to enjoy this team even if I end up losing every game, and that is a promise. So this video has been going on not as long as I expected, 20 minutes. That's fair. So if you guys like what the Oakland A's Elves are doing, make sure you like, subscribe, share, do what you do with YouTube videos. I'm gonna get on out of here and see you guys later.